We are the three first human beings to land on the moon.
Yeah.
But if you study body language, you can see they are so sad, they're disturbed, they're distraught. They
Yeah.
were told to say certain things, but they are not supposed to say.
Okay.
So that was a very mind-boggling thing to see because it's historical. So
They
when
should
you
be over the moon.
Should be over the moon.
Pun entirely
say,
intended.
yeah,
Yeah.
man, wow, I saw a Kentucky
Yeah.
Fried Chicken right on the moon, man. Things like that. Something that's exciting.
Ooh.
Welcome back, everyone. We are still here. You watched us last week. Now you're watching us this week. We're going to continue with part 2 of our stories about ETs and UAPs and UFOs and abductions and a probe going up somewhere that you shouldn't go up. And I still have to say, we still have Gordon's delicious vades on our desk. And there you go, Gordon's vades, the best, the crispiest, fluffiest prawn vade in town. Order online at gordonvade.com, or you can WhatsApp them as well. The WhatsApp number is there on screen. So make sure you order the best vades in Singapore. And we're back with the Chris Hansen conversation, and still with me in studio, I've got Ignatius Bong, and affectionately known once again as Bong.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Hey, thanks for just sticking around. My goodness me.
I just got a probe up my...
You good? Have a vade, man. Helps out with a probe in your...
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you can say it, man. Don't worry about it. Oh. Since we're on the topic of probes, and people who've been probed, right? That's what you're going to be talking about.
Yes.
What was it you said? The abduction of the 411?
Oh, yes. Okay, in following up on last week's discussion, before we begin, I think maybe a lot of you were sort of lost, could be lost in the amount of information we gave you.
Yep.
It'd be great if you, if you're interested in these topics. Oops, the mic is falling off. Let me just readjust.
Oh, that one must have been probed too.
Yeah, that must be probed, man.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
man.
so it's best to maybe read on a lot more. You can go online, just search, or go YouTube research. You can see all the full backstory, so you understand them better. Okay, so the missing 411 is a new case brought up by a police officer in America. He's an investigator. His name is David Paulides. 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 So what happened was he was asked to investigate cold cases.
Right.
That means he's an investigator. People get missing in the U.S. parks, national parks like Yosemite, etc. If you have been to the U.S. and if you've been through all their nature reserves, a park is really huge.
Right.
Okay, it's like the size. It's really big, it's very big, bigger than Singapore. Some of them, and I think most of them are bigger than Singapore. So it's basically what they call reserve, that you cannot touch. You cannot do anything, but you can just visit. So some things like the Grand Canyon is an example.
Right. Yosemite.
Yosemite National Park. People go in there and they are lost. They get missing. Search and rescue missions go into the places where they were reported lost. They can't find them.
Right.
Okay. And they can't find them after 2 weeks or 3 weeks of searching. So they have to stop because... as a human being, if you are not found, you're presumed dead because you're in a wilderness.
Right.
So what happens is that they find this person either dead or alive at a place where they're not supposed to be. That means a few kilometers up a mountain, a few kilometers out from the range of the search. There is no way this person...
It's just too broad, too huge to find a missing person.
A missing person. So when I say missing person, most people will think, adults or teenagers. No, I'm talking about even toddlers. A 3-year-old, 4-year-old toddler. Right? So they get lost in the park. What happens is that how they are lost is very simple. The parents are talking to the child. They turn and do something on the whatever barbecue table for 1 minute or 2 minutes. They turn around. The child is missing. That's what they call the missing case. It suddenly just disappears.
Right.
After many searches and all that, they find the child. There's one case. They find the child alive, but many weeks later, on top of a mountain.
Huh?
Yeah. That means I don't know the true case. Not many weeks, maybe a few days later.
Right.
The child's on top of a mountain.
And child's fine.
Child is fine. But how did the child climb on the mountain?
That's one. But how did it survive for days out there in the wilderness, right?
Yeah. So there are many cases like this of disappearances when they're not supposed to disappear.
Yeah, but this David Paulides, this guy, this ex-police officer, is he an advocate for anything that's extraterrestrial? Or was he just a neutral guy, just going out to discover the facts about how people got missing?
He's neutral.
Neutral.
Yeah, he was neutral for many years.
Right.
Then, because he says I'm a police officer, I'm paid to investigate. I do not engage me into any of this UFO, alien abduction, Bigfoot kind of thing.
Right.
Although he does have an interest in Bigfoot in America, but he separates them totally, and he will just give you the fact that this is what happened. This person disappeared. The person who disappears, most of them are very old, or they have some kind of disability. Right? They are near water or near rock formations.
Right.
Okay, they find this, and then he has actually devised a chart to showcase where they are lost.
Right.
They are found sometimes without shoes, but they are found sometimes in water, but the socks is clean, as white as sheet. That means somehow this person was not treading on the ground. They were just lifted up, disappeared, and then they found a dead body, something like that. So it's a very interesting case to see, because I think for the virtual fact that he does not pinpoint any cause of it. So he just gives you the fact, and that is very interesting. So he has published a few books on this. He started out with 411 cases.
Right.
And there is basically he has made 3 documentaries on this. The Missing 411, The Hunted, and the new one is Missing something, the UFO Connection or something like that.
Yeah, but so basically it cannot be some child predator, isn't it? Or child predators who've abducted these kids, because these kids were found alive and well, and they were clean and all that.
Yeah, some are found alive, some were never found. And then old people disappeared, never found. No body, no traces. Even the dogs, who can sniff. What do you call them? The
sniffer dogs.
The sniffer dogs.
And cadaver dogs.
Yeah. They can't find a trail.
Right.
So these cases happen a lot in American parks. But what happened is that these investigators, they knew something happened that's very strange, but they never brought it out. Again, same thing, because they were just volunteers on the search and rescue. So when he went to talk to them, he realized that there was an issue. But this issue is being hushed up.
Right.
It's a natural mystery. He does not know why they disappear. So he made what do you call that? These studies in America, in Canada, and in Australia. So in Australia also, they have a lot of cases like that where they just vanish. So
in Australia?
In Australia.
Wow.
Yeah. So again, since we're back on the ET thing, so another group of people claim, they're all abducted by aliens, and they disappear, and they're never found.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's one theory, because we're on the topic of aliens, right?
Yeah.
So the aliens came and take everything, must blame aliens, But this missing thing is really very true. And there was a recording done by some hunters in one of his documentaries, which struck me a bit frightening. The hunters were in the forest. They had a recording device on. So this was many years ago, in the 1970s. So
where was this?
This is I can't remember the case file. This was in the US.
In the US.
Again, in the US.
Right.
Has to be in the US.
Yeah.
Not in Bukit Timah Hill. Or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. So in the US, so they recorded a voice, or a strange growling voice, and talking of a being that sounds like Yoda from Star Wars. Okay, this one is available on YouTube lah. Okay,
you mean that voice recording is available on YouTube?
Yes, it's recorded and they put
and that voice spoke in English.
No, it's not in English. It is something something like that.
Oh my goodness! So I don't believe you just did that. Get the fuck out of here, man!
I had to clear my throat. I think there's something here, some mucus. Okay, it's getting hot.
Yeah. It is hot in Singapore.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the weather is incredible.
Yeah, it is.
You can fry an egg on the road, on the pavement.
I think so too.
Okay, so that is one of the cases. And it was well documented in this second documentary, The Hunted. The Hunter or The Hunted, I can't remember. But do check it out. The Missing 411 series. They're available on Apple.
Oh, sounds interesting, man.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting. Are you available on Apple?
Yes.
Apple TV?
Apple TV, Apple Store.
Right.
You can actually
like this show is available on Apple Podcasts as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
correct.
This is me doing a shameless little plug.
No,
here.
it's okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Support. Buy. Yeah.
No, it's free. Don't worry.
It's free. Yeah. Okay. Then moving on, because the topic is very big. So in our first episode, we were trying to actually grapple how do we actually present this topic, because there's so many topics Some of them are intertwined, interrelated. Most of them are without any kind of evidence. There is no scientific evidence to prove anything.
Right.
So the listener sometimes, this is a hearsay. This is just storytelling.
Yeah.
This is sandiwara, blah blah blah. So so it's very hard. But we will try to just bring you an awareness of these things that are basically in the public realm.
Right.
Okay, so one of the more recent things was the U.S. congressional hearing. This is true in 2022.
Okay.
The United States Congress had a hearing on UFOs. They were forced to, rather the Pentagon was forced by Donald Trump to say something about this. And this is where...
No way.
Yeah.
You mean Trump got it? Trump got it going?
Yeah, he had a document. And one document inside the blah, 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 they call it the COVID document or something like that.
Right.
I recall.
COVID document.
Document. So he had to mention this. They had to give a report on update on what is happening here.
Okay.
Somebody very cleverly, one congressman put it inside and then he signed it off. So it became law that they had to reveal.
Okay.
And this was where the word called UAP came up.
Okay.
Yeah, so a long time ago, it was always a UFO.
UFO, yeah.
Yeah. So to sound more scientific and more for military purposes, they call it a UAP.
Okay.
Yeah, unidentifiable, unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Right.
Okay. Right. Very nice way to say. Yeah.
Unidentified aerial phenomena.
Yes, correct.
Right.
So that takes away all these bad things that you hear about UFOs. The study of UFOs, always all the crackpots and all that. So they try to disengage from this group of people by saying the UAP issue instead of the UFO issue.
Okay.
Right. So what they did was there was a group of people that actually leaked some videos out from the Pentagon, and then 3 of the very famous ones, if you have seen the New York Times, they have released them out, and they call one of them was a very famous UFO called the Tic Tac UFO.
Oh yeah, the Tic Tac UFO. This is where you bring it up now, Kai. The Tic Tac UFO.
Give me a second.
Sure, man.
Yeah, it's not Kit Kat, but it's Tic Tac.
I think that's the first time everyone or anyone has ever heard your voice on air.
Yeah, beautiful.
Not that one. Not that one too. Not this one.
Oh, I think I found it.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
So something about this object that you see, it's shot from a military plane.
Right.
And what happened is that because it's a military plane, it's released by the Pentagon.
Right.
So it has a lot.
So it's not because of someone leaking it. It's because
somebody leaked it out.
Okay.
Somebody leaked it out, and then the Pentagon had no choice but to say yes. This belongs.
Oh,
to.
so they were backed into a corner.
Yeah, they were
It's
backed
not
to a
as
corner.
if that they wanted to do so of their own free will.
Yes, correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. So they
Okay.
released that. So when they released that, then because of the credibility of a US plane that caught this, and that's how it started. This whole congressional hearing.
Okay.
So the congressional hearing, as usual, they had 2. One was for the public, and then the second session was only to Congress.
Right.
Okay, because the reason is we cannot tell the public because we have all these technologies. The Russians might steal our technology. We have this drone capability.
Oh,
all that,
bullshit, man.
All that bullshit. So we will have a second congressional hearing,
Yeah.
but we'll give you the full information. So to the public, it was just nonsense. Like, it was there. We're investigating this, and it was just it's things that was very clean. There's nothing controversial.
Right.
They just say, these are unknown stuff and all. That's about it.
Right.
But it's the congressional hearing that had a lot of information inside, which was what I heard was that the congressman, the press was waiting for them.
Right.
So when they came out of that congressional hearing, their face was white. They're already white guys. I mean,
No shit, really?
They're pale. Yeah, they pale. They came out. They was like a bit stunned, a bit disturbed.
So that means to say that the entire U.S. government, outside of the White House,
Yeah,
U.S. Congress,
U.S. Congress.
now know practically everything they need to know.
Not basically practically, but I think they have a lot of information now. But I think, like I mentioned again, some people say this is the hostage thing. That means you're being held hostage.
Held at gunpoint.
Held at gunpoint.
By the aliens.
But
So they've actually invaded us already.
yeah, correct. Like for example, some of the cases like the moon landing, right, in America.
Yeah.
Again, Americans, they landed on the moon. Now, of course, there's one group of people say no, they never land. It never took place.
Oh, no.
I will throw that aside. Okay?
Yeah, I
because
think so too,
It
yeah.
did. Okay, for in my scientific
Absolutely
knowledge,
they
they
did.
landed on the moon. Okay.
It's like flat earthers, man. Oh,
Yeah.
the Earth's flat, man. It's
Yeah.
not round. Whoever said it was round? Jeez.
Yeah, that's right. So
Yeah,
they did
yeah,
land on the
yeah.
moon.
Yeah.
Evidence to support that from many multiple scientific countries.
Yeah.
But when they came back, the 3 astronauts, they had a press conference. The 3 of them was like as though they attended.
You're talking about Armstrong,
Yes.
and Buzz Aldrin, and
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So that, I mean, they should be very happy and excited.
Uh-huh.
We are the 3 first human beings to land on the moon.
Yeah.
But if you study body language, you can see they are so sad, they're disturbed, they're distraught. They
Yeah.
were told to say certain things, but they are
Okay.
not supposed to say.
Okay.
So that was a very mind-boggling thing to see when you see that presentation, because it's historical. So
They
when
should
you
be
come-
over the moon.
should be over the moon
pun
and
entirely
say,
intended.
yeah,
Yeah.
man, wow, I saw a Kentucky
Yeah.
Fried Chicken right on the moon, man. Things like that, something that's exciting. But when they gave the press conference, they were like, oh my goodness, like it's very sad. I think that spoke a lot of volume to
Yeah.
me. Yeah, when I
Yeah.
saw it personally, when I saw that thing, I said, oh wow, this is something is happening. That
Right.
is not.
So what do you think happened?
According to them, again, leaked information from
Uh-huh.
the astronauts. Some of them had passed away, but astronauts do talk to a fellow astronaut.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So they say when they landed on the moon,
Yeah.
there were all these flying objects watching them as they landed, and when they came out of the moon, whatever the capsule,
Right.
they were being watched.
Fucking hell. So
Yeah.
so what you're saying is that this conspiracy theory
Yes.
about the moon being an alien base.
Yeah. Okay, that's another topic. Again, like I said,
I mean, there's no better time to talk about shit like this, but than now, isn't it? You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
The moon is too perfect.
You need a
As
glass of water or something, man.
No, later.
Okay.
Yeah, I need a whiskey. Okay.
It can happen. Don't
Okay,
worry.
well, yeah. So the moon is too perfect a satellite. It's the only moon that is following a planet very closely and in perfect synergy. That we
Right.
get a full eclipse of the sun.
Yes.
Okay. No other planetary systems in the universe has scientists found the perfect moon except our moon.
Perfectly round.
Perfectly round.
Perfectly spherical.
Correct. And then when they dropped what happened was when the spacecraft left the moon and they dropped the payload. That
Yeah.
means they don't want to be too heavy.
Yeah.
It rang like a bell.
Yeah. I heard about that. Yeah.
That means there's something hollow. The moon
So
was
the moon's
hollow.
hollow.
It's hollow.
So what you're saying that the moon is actually what is artificial?
Yeah, they say it's artificial. It's a construct built by it was delivered close to Earth. It is basically an observatory base where the aliens come, blah blah blah, and that's where you have the next topic,
Okay.
which I want to talk about, which is related to the moon. It's called the solar warden.
Okay. Before you go on to Solar Warden, let's talk about the moon a little bit more.
All right.
I mean, I read about this that it's so perfect in terms of the distance between the Earth and the moon and the sun that it basically completely eclipses the sun during a total
That's right.
eclipse, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And we are the only planet in the solar system that actually has that happening.
Yes.
But however, if there is some truth to the moon being artificial, and there could have been a time in Earth's past, a long time ago, that the moon didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
To explain tides. I mean, it controls our tides,
Yeah. Correct.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So what would happen if we don't have the moon? So are we saying that now we're going back to ancient astronauts again. Are we saying that back in the day, archaeologists and historians have accepted the fact that there was a great flood. I mean, of course, biblically, we also know about the great flood in Noah, right? Noah's Ark. And there's been so much evidence of many ancient great civilizations that were wiped out by this flood.
Yeah.
You mean, could it be that at that time, the moon didn't exist? Because in some civilizations, what's the word for it? What people wrote and talked about, right? In the ancients, that is. I think even in the Bible, if I'm not mistaken, there was a quote that says, "In the days before the arrival of the moon."
Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah. But you know something, man? People would really think we're a bunch of quacks now.
That's why I say take it with a pinch of salt. It's very entertaining.
Yeah, salt gives you cholesterol as well. Yeah.
Cholesterol, yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So it's entertaining, That's why I say it's like science fiction. You enjoy the non-fiction as a science fiction. Yeah, okay. Because it's really nice to hear this because it could have happened. So that gives the edge to the story. Yeah, you know, that's the thing.
It's an interesting point.
What you mentioned is true. Yeah, the time before the moon and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That was actually brought up by a few people who went to study ancient languages and of cultures in antiquity. They like to call it. Yes, a long time ago. Yeah. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
So the moon has always been one of the focal point for mankind since they were around.
Right.
And they always wanted to fly to the moon. So when they really got to the moon, then you have the second thing. Oh, what's on the moon? What's on the back side of the moon? The dark side.
Yeah.
I think there are alien bases.
Yeah, but don't you think it's really weird too? We're still on the topic of the moon. Yeah, forgive me.
Yes.
Because that fascinates me.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this for a long time. Really, the moon. It always shows the same face to Earth.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the world, you see the same face.
Correct.
We don't see the other side.
Yes.
But the Chinese have recently launched, and came back, their own spacecraft to land on the far side of the moon.
Yeah.
Right? Edward Collins, who was the guy when Apollo 11 went in, right? What they do is that they land the lunar module. And then you have the other spacecraft with one more astronaut in there that will have to
circle the moon. Yeah.
Orbit the moon.
Yeah, orbit the moon.
And then pick these guys up.
Yes.
Excuse me. When the astronauts on the surface of the moon need to come back to Earth, they will launch from the moon in the limb. They call it the limb, right? The lunar module.
Yeah.
And then attach itself to the one that's been waiting for them above in the orbit.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Now, Edward Collins actually flew to the back of the moon. And he must have seen a lot of stuff. I think Armstrong, the three of them, actually also went to the back of the moon. And during that time, there were no transmissions because they're at the back of the moon.
Yeah, correct.
They completely blocked off from Earth, isn't it? Yeah. So the Chinese didn't say whether they saw anything.
The Chinese will never say anything.
Fucking hell! You know, when I read about this, now you know that they were sending a probe to the far side of the moon.
Yeah.
I was hoping they'll tell us, what did you see?
Correct.
And it won't be as secretive as the Yanks.
Yeah, not to be secretive. Then they'll send another one. Then they go and learn and study whatever. Blah blah. They come back. Yeah. Then they build 10 more aircraft carriers and circle Taiwan.
I think you better keep your passport and to other countries now. Okay, man. Okay, sorry about that. I just wanted to raise that important point. You know, I mean, it's kind of amazing because I think you're right. Those three guys on Apollo 11 that landed on the moon, I think they saw more than they could chew.
Yes, correct. That's right.
Yeah.
They saw more than they could chew.
Yeah.
And of course, these are all scripted. You cannot say, I mean, it's a public relations thing.
Yeah.
You cannot say, I saw something there.
And they call it, they have a code, but apparently there have been some, NASA had to release some, because of the Secret Information Act, right? No, the Release of Information Act, right? Something like that, that Americans have. And recently it came to light that there have been comms that we don't hear.
Yeah.
That no one on Earth can hear, but it's between Cape Kennedy's control to the lunar module.
Yes.
Right, not the lunar module, to the astronauts.
To astronauts,
on the way to the moon and whilst they were there.
Correct. It's a medical channel.
That's it. Yeah. And it's via another medium of communications that they've got inside the spacecraft. And they have a code word, and they say that they saw anything that's E.T. and that code word was Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So I have Santa Claus. I see Santa Claus,
Yeah.
And I saw that. I mean, I was watching that documentary. It was quite fascinating, actually.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Because they still do have NASA feeds beamed down for enthusiasts to see, how does my neighborhood look like in space? Or what are they doing on a space shuttle, for example, or the International Space Station? But many, many, many times, when something happens, something approaches that is not natural, they will cut the feed.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is a very good YouTube channel that sort of broadcasts this kind of anomalies.
Oh, really?
They call themselves the Secure Team. I don't know whether you heard of them.
Oh, that's a freaking cool name.
Yeah, a secure team.
The secure team.
Team. Okay, it's one guy is running it,
Right.
but he brings out all this. He's very focused on bringing out all these anomalies.
Uh-huh.
That means you can see something approaching in the background.
Right, like the
Right.
Black Knight.
Some Black Knight, Okay, a Black Knight is like a satellite, which according to many people is placed in orbit since the world began.
Since the world began.
Since the world began, and they've been studying human beings. So this is called the Black Knight. Okay, of course.
Shit,
Please
this sounds-
Google all this.
This sounds like that alien movie called Prometheus, man.
Yeah, it's like Prometheus. Correct. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So speaking about Prometheus and all that,
Uh-huh.
Hollywood has been there's been talk that Hollywood has actually been roped in to this sort of do a disclosure of these things to the general public.
basically try to ease us into that this is actually quite customary.
Yes,
so
and that mankind
into
is
our consciousness.
Into our consciousness.
Yeah. So
Right?
it's called disclosure, isn't it? This whole thing is called disclosure. isn't it?
Disclosure, yeah. So the disclosure means to disclose something that I'm not telling you. So for the whole world, to this UFO people, it's called the disclosure. So one of those very good Hollywood movies was, in my personal opinion, was Close Encounters of the Third Kind by Steven Spielberg.
Long time ago.
Yes, you
Richard
have to see
Dreyfuss,
that.
yeah.
You have not seen that before, because it really sums up the entire information that they have.
Mm-hmm.
They have like Jacques Vallée, which is a French investigator. He was on the show, but somebody acted like him, speaking French. And then they have also John Allen Hynek.
Yeah, Hynek was there.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
So it was a very, very, very powerful movie because the last part when the aliens came out, at that time nobody knew about the bug eyes thing. It was very rare.
Right.
Nobody knew.
The greys.
The greys. But there were greys there. So it was really well planted. The story was a very strong line.
Yeah.
So Steven Spielberg, even up to today, when he's asked about things like that, he will tell you he believes in these UFOs.
Right.
It's inspired him to do a lot of movies.
Right.
And the movies and the storyline up to today.
Yeah.
We still give suggestions to certain sort of documentarians who would like to do topics on this. They will still sometimes ask him for help. He will point them in the right direction for their research.
So does it mean that Spielberg knows something we don't?
I guess maybe he was interviewed on Playboy magazine.
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
I read it for scientific purposes, not to see anything else. But in the 1970s.
Okay.
So Playboy magazine, for those of you who do not know what Playboy magazine is,
no.
yeah, it's basically using modules like, for example, PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. Yeah. So it's for video gamers. It's called Playboy magazine. So they have very strong editorials there that focuses on certain topics like that.
Right.
So when
right.
Steven Spielberg made Close Encounters of the Third Kind, there was
Right.
a very strong editorial done and interview done with him.
So so disclosure is something that some people believe, and what I've read is that somewhere in 2024, the governments of the world will be ready to disclose what's been happening with aliens.
Yeah, actually the year goes back further, 1996. Then it became 97, 98, 99.
Oh, so it's never going to happen then.
Looks like it's never going to happen because it's been a long time ago.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like 96 and 2000.
Well, on that note, when we're talking about right now Close Encounters of the Third Kind, right? So let's talk about some of the famous cases of close encounters, man.
Oh, Close Encounters.
Like Rendlesham, for example.
Okay. So for those of you who are fans of this topic, those of you who are not fans, you will now know something that happened in 1980. Where were you in 1980? December. Okay, Rendlesham Forest is basically a forest in England, United Kingdom, that had British and American troops on it.
Right.
Okay, so they're sort of
Shared basis.
it's a shared base
In the UK,
In the UK,
Rendlesham,
right? So I
yeah.
think it's under NATO or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was an incident in the forest. A triangular object actually landed there. There was no body staying around there. So in summary, it was recorded on a tape recorder, the whole incident, by one of the sergeants or the captains. I can't remember. Captains, huh?
Yeah, captain.
Yeah. So they went to investigate the lights and all that. So it was a very intriguing case because it is an isolated case, but it is again by the military. So the whole incident happened in a military thing. So gives a lot of weight to the story.
Yeah.
I won't go dwell too much because if I dwell too much, it will take out a lot of time. So it happened that they saw a craft. They saw writings on the side of the craft. They took it down, and then he has been the stalwart for a lot of conferences in the US as to one of the very important cases.
Right.
that is real.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So and then they also had reports written
Right.
and then given to the higher ranks, higher ups.
Well, interestingly, I think this Rendlesham Forest thing, if I'm not mistaken, this is where a popular ufologist came about, right? He was formerly working for the Ministry of Defense for the UK.
That's right.
And he's right now an ardent ufologist. It's amazing that someone from the military, who is from, the working in the Ministry for Defense of the UK is
Yes.
now one of those is advocating the fact that let's stop covering up UFOs. And that guy is Nick Pope.
Yes, correct. Nick Pope.
Yeah.
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 So Nick Pope is one of those.
It started off with the Rendlesham thing.
Yes, yeah. So he's responsible for actually, that case to sort of summarize that case properly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then of course we have the other important cases like the Phoenix Lights. Okay, Phoenix again is over Arizona. Arizona is in US, beautiful country. I've never been there, but it was spotted by thousands of people.
Okay.
Right. So this happened in somewhere in March '97. So there was a row of lights that was huge that covered the whole of Phoenix.
Was what I mean a fleet?
I think it was maybe a small fleet, but it was just one big radius of lights that came out in the sky.
Right.
Yeah. So
But it's triangular too.
yeah, triangular was seen later on as a second fleet.
What? You mean there were two fleets?
The first fleet was round,
Holy shit.
a big one, and then the second was a triangular one that was silent and it was very close to the houses. Because in the hilltops where people were staying, residential houses, they saw this thing fly past. And when they fly past, they actually block the sky. You can't see the stars, whatever, at night. And then it was very close to the ground. So it's one of those cases, again, it was a mass sighting.
Right.
So according to ufology studies, this is very important because many people saw the same thing.
Right.
One very important scope is that a military has to be involved, like the Tic Tac UFO,
Yeah.
Rendlesham, military
Yeah.
people involved. So it's credibility. Second credibility is very important. It's mass. A lot of people saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of those very important cases. So within the span of 2 hours, they saw this over.
So there were two fleets, man.
Two fleets, correct.
Two different types of spacecraft.
Yeah, two different types. of
Friggin' sounds like an invasion, man.
Yeah, sounds like an invasion.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then the other ones are basically, which I will recommend to go to YouTube if you're interested in this topic. Look for Jamie Maussan. I can't remember his name.
Okay.
Jaime Maussan.
Yep.
Okay, now he's a Brazilian researcher, but he has one of the best video evidence that happens in Brazil or
Right.
South America
Right.
of all these sightings. And people actually give it to him because he's one of the main researchers. They have a TV show in Mexico or Brazil, I can't recall, a weekly show where they talk about cases like that. It's very open in the South America. So when they have that, you can see a lot of video evidence. Some
Right.
of them flying into the volcano, some of them coming out, things like that. So very interesting, very intriguing.
How about Belgium? In Belgium, there was something that happened there as well.
Oh yeah, there was a UFO wave in 89 to 90. Within 2 years, Belgians saw a triangular shaped UFO
Right.
all over. It
You mean
was
some multiple ones?
multiple ones, and
Right.
by many people again.
Yeah.
So the police patrol cars were following this shape, this object. People in the Air Force were seeing them. I think airplanes were sent to intercept.
Right.
And then general public saw these things.
So they thought, what I'm seeing here is like 13,500
Yes.
people saw.
Yes, 13,500 people.
They can't all be wrong.
Yeah,
man.
it can't be wrong. Yeah. So what happens is that they were hovering very low in the sky, so people had a good look at them. So again, it's an important case because again, it's a mass sighting.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a one-off like I saw it today in Tiong Bahru, that kind of thing. Or I saw in Bedok South. Only I saw. All
Everyone else was too damn busy in Singapore, right?
Correct. They're basically it's very contestable. But this you can't contest because there's a lot of witnesses.
Man, I'm beginning to think, right? If we've got a Phoenix Lights kind of sighting in Singapore, man,
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people will even notice.
They won't notice. They will say, "Oh, National Day coming so
I
fast."
think so. National Day.
Oh, got drill.
Got drill. But why so late at night?
Yeah.
How come so many lights on man?
Okay.
And no sound,
Yeah, because Singapore, I think the problem is we are a small country.
Yeah.
Number two, we have very heavy light
Pollution. Yeah, I think so, man.
Yeah, it's very bright. It's
I
very
mean, sometimes I wish I'd look up into the sky, I can see the Milky Way and Andromeda, right?
Yeah.
We
But
can't.
You can't.
You can't.
Yeah, because it's too bright. That's
Too
why
damn bright.
It's a very safe country.
Okay. I mean, I'm not saying anything. I mean, I'm sure we are. Yeah, we are.
Yeah. You know,
Okay.
so it's very bright. So
Yeah.
you can't see much of the stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, the UFOs, if UFOs want to show themselves, I'm pretty sure they would be brighter.
It'll be brighter. Yeah, more intelligent.
I don't know. I don't know.
Wow.
As long as they don't probe my ass.
Yeah, they're over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are the mass sightings. Yeah.
Yeah, mass sightings.
Close
Then-
encounters.
Yeah. Then for airplanes,
Mm.
in general, I know a lot of pilots have seen such objects in the sky. I know of certain people who have seen and told me before.
You're
firsthand.
talking about what? Singaporean pilots.
Singaporean pilots. Yes, Singaporean pilots. Okay, so
No way.
no, really.
Holy shit balls.
Yeah, so I had this is it's not bullshitting, not telling a lie.
Yeah.
Because this person actually spoke to me, not
Yeah.
because he knew I liked the subject, but it was just out of just really out of the blue. He just told me, "Hey, I was flying over the Straits of Taiwan,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw 3 objects flying above my cockpit. Do you believe that?" So I say, "Wow, what 3 objects? Birds?" I said, "No, not so high." He said, "I saw a cube this big flying above my cockpit, the first one. Then I saw a second cube fly by, and a third one the size of 4 747s over."
Shit, dude, sounds like
I got
Star
picked.
Trek. You know,
It sounds
anyone
like-
watch? You know, any Trekkies out there? You know, it's called the Borg, man.
The
the
Borg.
Borg cube.
The Borg cube.
Yeah?
Transformers.
No, not Transformers, man. Come on, this is the Borg, man. You shall be assimilated. Resistance is futile.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm Optimus.
So no, wait.
Prime.
So this guy, one of ours,
Yes.
actually, you know,
So,
it's
yeah.
commercial pilot.
Commercial pilot, right?
Right,
so the
right.
names all I will not say.
Yeah.
Okay, but when they landed in Taiwan,
Yeah.
they were asked officially, "Would you like to do a report?" So he was not a senior flight pilot. There was a captain above him.
Yeah.
So the captain said, "No, we didn't see anything. No
Okay.
report is to be done."
Yeah.
So during that get together with fellow pilots from different airlines, so he brought it up out of a sudden. "Hey, you know, I was flying over. You know, we were flying and we saw this object. Have any of you seen?" He was straightaway rebuked by a senior pilot. I said, "Keep your mouth quiet."
Was the captain of his flight? Was he local?
He's not local.
See, figures.
Yeah.
But then I wonder. This is an interesting point. I wonder if, let's say, the captain was Singaporean, and everyone on board, and the crew, the flight crew, they are Singaporean.
Yeah.
Right? And I wonder what is the protocol for our airlines, you know, and for our pilots. I'm not surprised. I mean, if you got a Westerner who's his captain, they've grown up with, they grew up with this, you know, they grew up not like us.
Yeah.
We grew up with the hantu stories, you know, the ghosts and supernatural shit, right? We don't talk about UFOs and stuff. But for these guys coming from the West, they know that don't talk about it, otherwise, you know, you're gonna be in the shits. Better don't, you know. They culturally they're like that, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But I wonder if they're all Singaporeans, including the captain. What would they have? Would they just, you know, would they be flapping the lips and going, and going, "Hey guys, guess what? We saw 3 cubes flying past our cockpit, man."
Yeah, correct. I guess maybe they will. They don't see any harm in.
I don't know. I don't know what our protocol is in Singapore. I mean, what happens if we're on the street and we see a fleet of UFOs in the sky? What do we do? Will we call the cops? I mean, that's what a citizen would do, right?
Yeah, correct.
They would call the cops,
Call
right?
the cops, yeah.
And what would the reaction be like? I've always wondered about that
Yeah,
stuff. you
it'll
know?
be, I think, very big panic and fear
Yeah, in this country.
in this country.
Really?
Yes, because I feel that there will not be a sense of wonderment. Wow.
No, it won't be, but there'll be a sense of I'm going to speak in Hokkien. I'll translate it for you. Hey, simi lai ah. What's that? There's what's Hokkien is a dialect, Chinese dialect in Singapore.
Yeah, correct.
And, you know, and they're going to go that. You know, they're going to say that. Then after that, I suppose you're just going to forget.
Yeah, you're gonna forget. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
because you're gonna catch the MRT back. So that is very that's how pragmatic
We're
Singapore
just so
is.
distracted, man. No. I think not about being pragmatic. I think we're just distracted, man.
Yeah.
We're distracted by too many things.
Yeah, we're just distracted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on from there. So this is crazy. I mean, 3 cubes,
Three
man.
cubes, yeah. And then I have not finished the description. He was telling
Oh, okay.
me
Sorry.
it's a cube, ridiculous, right? I mean, as we know, in physics, a cube cannot just fly. But around the cube was like other smaller objects flying past it around the cube.
Oh,
Yeah, so there's a cube and there was other things flying around it.
right.
Yeah. So the thing is that he says he will never forget it, but at that time there were no digital cameras.
Right.
This was quite a while back.
No
So-
iPhones.
No iPhones, nothing. So you have to use those kind of lenses, but they don't carry back
Yeah, they
that
don't.
kind of,
They don't move
DSLR
around.
onto the
Yeah.
onto the cockpit. Right? So they saw the thing.
Right.
Yeah.
We can have to just take the word for it. Then.
Yeah, just take the word for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one case that was actually I think very similar, but not that similar, was in 1986.
Right.
Japan Airlines.
Right.
Something out of America now.
Japan Airlines Flight 1628.
1628, yes. It's flying from Paris to Tokyo.
Mhm.
Okay, when crew members spotted several UFOs.
Mhm.
So the crew called in through. They saw these multiple things, and then they made an emergency landing in Alaska,
Mhm.
which is Anchorage. Okay, it's part of the thing.
Mhm.
So the thing is that the ground crew had evidence
Right.
they were being followed.
Right.
This thing was huge. According to them, if we know that 747 is a plane,
Right.
but we also know that according to them, it's like 200 times the size of it. Next to it, it's a really, very big one.
200 times.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure this out in my brain. Do
Yeah.
we have an image of that? Did we pop it up just now, Kai? Of the Japan Airlines Flight 1628?
Drum roll.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. Correct.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a craft. Can we just leave it up for a bit, please? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So this was the craft that they saw. It's really very big.
Uh-huh.
Right. I mean, it was observed, it was reported.
Uh-huh.
Okay, it was drawn out, as you can see here.
Uh-huh.
And the best part is that it was captured on radar.
Right.
Right, in in Alaska.
Right.
So this is again a very famous case because there is multiple witnesses and ground radar being tracked. So you cannot say that it didn't happen. It was
Uh-huh.
based on word of mouth, but because they actually track and they have the data for this.
But why did they make an emergency landing in Alaska?
Oh, I think because they couldn't fly anymore. I think maybe out of fear or a fear of accident.
I see.
Of basically engagement.
So basically, out of being kiasu lah.
Yeah,
Kiasi lah.
for safety reasons.
Right.
you have to
Okay. Yeah.
fly.
Safety reasons. Fine. Thanks.
Yeah.
I was looking for that word. I got only thing of kiasi.
Safety, flight safety. Use your seat belt. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Are we getting stuck somewhere now?
No, we're not getting stuck.
Okay.
So I mean,
mhm.
just to mention, these are the famous cases
Right.
with evidence.
Right.
For those new people who are listening to this podcast or watching this, and they feel that, hey, I'm really very interested after hearing the guru talk about all this. I really like to know more about this.
Yeah,
because,
man.
Yeah, so Rendlesham Forest incident, the Belgian UFO wave, the Phoenix lights, the Japan Airlines flight 1628, 1628.
Uh-huh.
Of course, you can have the current Pentagon videos, Tic Tac UFOs. These are all evidence-based sightings that have a lot of support.
But you missed out the close encounter of the fourth kind for Betty and Barney Hill.
Oh, yes, correct. Betty and Barney Hill was one of the first reported cases where they were abducted onto a UFO. They were driving home, I think, from one state in Canada to the US, going
Uh-huh.
home on a night drive.
Uh-huh.
They were being followed by a craft. So this craft followed them for a while, and then they stopped ahead of the car. When Barney came out with a binoculars,
Right.
and he saw this craft was round, and he
Yeah.
saw alien creatures on the windows of the craft, and they actually spoke to him.
Passengers. Oh, they
Passengers.
spoke to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Telepathically.
What did they say?
They said, please don't leave. We need you. Something like that. Something happened. So he ran back to the car. He got back to the car. He sped off. But the
Uh-huh.
thing is that they couldn't remember, because the next thing they remembered, it was daytime, because this incident happened at night. So there was daytime, they had missing time. Missing
Right.
time meaning that they cannot recall what happened during this period of time.
Right.
So then they went about their daily activities,
Mm-hmm.
and then they started to have flashbacks.
Hey, now that you mentioned this, man, I don't know whether you've read this before. Decades ago, when we were I think it was in the 90s. Yeah, somewhere in the 90s. I remember this, and I read it, man. I read it somewhere in one of our newspapers. I'm not kidding. It was a small story. I was like put it in the corner somewhere in the newspaper. there was this guy that was driving home in Singapore on the PIE.
Oh, I heard about this.
Oh, you have, huh?
Yeah.
And somewhere between, I think, Bedok and Tampines, there was a lapse of time.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, he landed much further away.
Yeah.
Like, he said, what just happened? You know, like,
Yeah.
Like, who knows, man? He may have been abducted and put back in his car.
Yeah, this was I remember this one. I think it's in the 1980s or even earlier, 1970s.
No. I don't think it was earlier, man.
Yeah. So it was the car incident.
Yeah.
Then
And there was this all of a sudden there was a lapse of time, and he was very quickly somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So time machine.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Jeez. Not time machine, dude. He may have been abducted, got his butt probed,
And
then
then
put
released
back down
not
together
bad.
with his car, man.
Yeah, correct.
And with his foot in the pedal still.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Same clothes on, huh?
Same clothes,
right.
man. Yeah, like right now, you and I still same clothes from last week to now.
Yeah, correct.
Right, here we go.
We have missing time.
Yes, that's right.
So when
Yeah.
they went through this missing time incident, they went through to see a doctor to understand what's happening to them. They're getting very edgy.
Right.
They're getting a lot of flashbacks, but they cannot identify what is bothering them.
Right.
And then that's where they went through hypnotic regression.
Here we go again.
And here we go again.
Uh-huh.
And this was the very first, I think, publicized one that's done. And
Right.
that was where the whole story came out.
Right. And
Yeah.
so what happened? What did they say?
They were taken aboard the plane.
Uh-huh.
They've taken aboard the
plane?
the craft.
Yeah,
right.
spacecraft.
And then they were what they call medically examined
Mhm.
without their clothes on,
Right.
on a cold table.
Right.
And they were told not to worry. We're not here to harm you.
Right.
Right. And then it's quite disgusting if you go through this. It's basically medical things which were unknown to us were probed into their body.
Right.
Like for example, the normal cases would be the probe into the ovaries
Oh dear.
to remove ovaries from a woman. From men, it will be sucking out his sperm,
Yeah.
right? That kind of thing. So it's quite gross and it's very frightening actually for people who go through this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why this abduction case is not.
So what are
something
you doing
to,
this for? Like what you said in the last episode, the last part of this episode, that the first part of this episode, when you said that for what they need to inseminate, they need to have.
Yes, to regrow the part of the thing that they went through, these abductees.
Yeah.
When they go through regression,
Right.
some of them are told why
Yeah.
they are doing this
Okay.
to them, because their race or their culture or whatever
Dying.
in that planet is dying.
Right.
Yeah, so they are here to take our DNA
Right.
for reproductive purposes.
Right.
Yeah. So of course, these kind of things, when I first read it a long time ago, I was like, wow, really, man? Oh, it's cool, man.
Mhm.
You know. But after reading many times, I become like, the narrative is a bit science fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I try to understand this, but I also try to be a skeptic of
Yeah.
this. Some things you can really.
Yeah, but but apparently, I'm gonna really sound like a freaking quack again. There are about 32 races of aliens so far discovered.
Yeah, that's the thing. Then sometimes I laugh, you know, because you
Okay.
see, it's so easy to just quote a number. Right? Oh,
Right.
they are among us.
Well,
They
the
are
grays,
tall,
what
the
are
grays.
the grays, the tall? Then you got the tall, the Scandinavian looking type,
Yes,
the
correct.
Nordics,
The Nordics,
the
yeah.
reptilians, the Arcturians.
Yes, correct. So
Right.
according to eyewitnesses,
Uh-huh.
they have the very beautiful aliens. They
Yeah.
look like Swedish.
Yeah.
I don't mind one actually.
Yeah.
So
There's a band called ABBA. Yeah.
ABBA. They look like ABBA. Yeah. So when they can't say Dancing Queen, but they are a gay band, right? So, so that's one.
Oh, boy.
Then there's one. They looks like insects, praying mantis,
Yeah.
and some of them looks like a crocodile or like a lizard person. Right? They call it the reptilians.
Yeah.
And then some of the greys.
Like the old sci-fi show.
V, yeah,
Yeah.
correct. And many others. So sometimes you ask yourself, are these real? Are these people just off the cuff saying things like
Yeah.
that? You know? Then it gets into the new age thing. Now, nothing against new age, but some of the beliefs or these things like that. So it gets very cloudy.
Right.
Topics. The UFO topic loses its scientific endeavor.
Yeah.
The evidence to prove it.
Yeah.
You know, but people do say yes, there is a list of them. They're here everywhere, and some of them say they're already in society, living with us.
Don't you think so?
I guess maybe only in the US, because the climate there is better.
Actually,
Yeah.
funny you should say that, because everywhere I read about this, or the reptilians are here and they've invaded our bodies, then if you take a look closely, the eyes change, and then you see the true eyes
Yeah,
turn
correct,
up,
correct,
right?
correct, yeah.
The lizard eyes
Lizard eyes come
pop
up,
up. And then it's always about their own government officials, you know.
correct, yeah.
And all. There was even one time the Brits thought there was a queen.
Yes,
That was,
the queen,
you know,
correct.
jeez.
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah, there's a big author in the UK. He's some people call him a quackpot. David Icke, I-C-K-E.
Right.
So this guy, he says that the bloodline of the royal family comes from a reptilian race of people which come to me when I am asleep one night, and then they tell me that the queen is actually a reptile.
Oh,
or,
man.
you know, things like that. So
Oh,
then again,
boy.
you see, so it destroys
It destroys credibility.
credibility,
Yeah.
and that's why when you mention these people say, "Oh, yeah, crackpot."
But then again, you know, it's just so damn far-fetched, right? But then again, a lot of things we've been talking about that seems fascinating to us also seem quite far-fetched.
Yes.
It's very hard to draw a line.
It's very hard to draw a line. right? Yeah.
Which means that, you know, moving on to our next topic, which is solar warden.
Yeah.
I think this is really, really, really far-fetched, save for the fact that the guy who spilled his guts about this, I mean, he is quite the hacker,
Yeah.
you know,
Correct. That's right.
to the point where, okay, I'll let you tell the story.
Oh, no. So, you know, see, the evolution of the stories of about aliens and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
okay, has stretched so far like a rubber band
Uh-huh.
that now we have this topic called the Secret Space Program.
Yeah.
Okay, what is that? Yeah, Secret Space Program. That means, okay, I'll just maybe start from the beginning. There's this hacker called Gary McKinnon.
Uh-huh.
Okay, for those of you who are who watch the news regularly,
Mhm.
you will know he's a hacker who hacked into the US computers. So he went into the Space Command computers several years ago and learned the existence of non-terrestrial officers.
Mm.
Okay, the meaning is non-terrestrial officers was printed on a form.
I mean, not from this earth.
Not from this earth lah. Okay,
Mhm.
and one more called fleet-to-fleet transfers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these two words were found: non-terrestrial officers and fleet-to-fleet transfers.
Mm-hmm.
And a secret space program called Solar Warden,
Yep.
as in the sun, Solar Warden.
Yep.
Okay, he was charged by the Bush Justice Department for having committed the biggest military computer hack of all time.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I think MI5 came down real hard on him,
Yes, correct. Yeah, you know, for a
Yeah.
hacker, you know,
man. Yeah.
I mean, hackers is a hacker.
It was all over the BBC at the time.
Yeah, but this is like the topic. I mean, the content was too heavy. That's why they had to charge him.
Mm.
Because normal hacker will be hack. I mean, you want to hack, you can hack video games and all that.
Yeah.
Nobody will come. But this the topic. So, they're trying to arrest him in an open court.
Yeah.
But his attorney cannot would be able to subpoena government officials to testify under oath
Yeah.
that they have this space fleet.
Right.
Yeah, that means they cannot touch him, because if they touch him, they will have to admit that we have such a fleet. According to him, that there is they have 8 cigar-shaped motherships. The US government owns.
Okay.
Okay, they are basically each longer than 2 football fields end to end,
Yep.
and
Wow.
and they are basically have about 300% personnel involved in a facility.
Okay.
Okay, so it's comprised of many countries: Canada, United Kingdom, Italy, Austria, Russia, and Australia.
Wow.
So they are basically doing this what they call black projects. Now, black project means the money coming from the taxpayers' money,
Right.
but parked into a special, so-called special project,
Right.
and from there they build things like that.
Right. But does this mean, okay, this U.S. naval network, that time when Gary McKinnon, spilled his guts about this, and then now, this is years later, right? I mean, when Trump was president and that dipshit started Space Force, right?
Yeah, Space Force. Yeah.
I mean, was he spooked enough as a president then to start something like Space Force? However, and maybe open this up, and maybe open this up to the public. It was attempting to open this up to the public. I don't know. But come on. Here we have Elon Musk on his own as a commercial project working on SpaceX, right? And then we have NASA having dropped off so many rovers on Mars, right? And man wanting to go to Mars and stuff. But right now, what we're saying is for many, 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 many years, we've got our own bloody
Fleet.
fleet of motherships,
Yeah.
cigar-shaped at that as well,
Yeah.
just like some alien spacecraft that people have spotted.
Correct.
What? So this spacecraft can travel. I mean, is there anything that you've read about that could travel light years or almost?
They can travel to any planet. They already have treaties. That's the best part with alien beings.
Excuse me, cosmic alliances.
We are like a cosmic. What do you call that?
The freaking Federation.
Earth is on. See, that's how far-fetched it blows up.
Space, the final frontier.
Yes,
These
correct.
are the voyages of. Oh my goodness me.
Yeah, correct. So and that is another big threat as in THREAD in a UFO field in America.
Jeez.
Because you don't find this in any other country. They will talk about this. There are officers there, but under hypnosis, they remember they were officers. They shot down some aliens.
But US, Canada, UK, Italy, Austria, Russia, and Australia. I mean, dude. I mean, this whole thing about they can't get along.
Yeah, correct.
Russia and the US.
Yeah.
They can't get along, but they're partners. And I mean,
all
this is what, farcical or what?
It's an irony.
I mean, I don't know, man. I still think it's kind of far-fetched.
Yeah.
This solar warden thing. I mean, what are they doing? What did they form that for? I mean, for what reason? What purpose? Are we going to war somewhere in space?
Correct.
I mean, who?
Yeah.
What?
Space exploration. But the thing is this. The
Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers, things like that. It's very funny because the topic is so big. So if you're really interested in this topic, you got to really see the real from the fake.
Go into the rabbit hole.
Yeah, you got to remove certain things. I mean, that's my take on it, because if you want to believe everything, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah, so solar warden is one of them, and people do swear by this. They say yes, it happens, blah blah blah. So again, there's a different school of thought.
Right.
Yeah. So, who do you believe? What to believe? So, I always believe that you got to have the few sightings. Like, it is basically admitted by the military that they really did see something with evidence.
Yeah.
Mass sighting. A lot of people have seen it before. These are basically things I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Of course, word of mouth by people who are very trustworthy amongst your community, friends or family members who you can trust, and they say they saw something.
You know what I hope for one day? So that people will just shut the hell up and really believe that we are not alone.
Yes,
and that the truth is out there.
Yes.
It's really out there when you have thousands of these ships hover low over all the world's cities.
Yeah.
But that's when we're probably screwed.
Yeah, they'll be screwed lah.
Yeah. Probably we're going to be so screwed when that happens shit.
Yeah.
But then people will start to believe.
Yeah. So it's, as you can see, like this podcast you're doing on this topic, it's not a very easy topic to handle.
It's not, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of branches out from the same topic.
Lots of threads,
and a lot of threads. And then the irony is that a lot of these threads comes from only one country. It's not supported by many other countries. So sometimes you tend to ask yourself, is this really a very...
Or distraction by the US?
Is this very American thing or is it happening around the world?
Yes, like recently, right? When Biden ordered the so-called China balloons, spy balloons to be shot down, right?
Correct, yeah.
And then after that, the pilots are saying that you can't tell what it was, blah, blah, blah. People started speculating. Maybe some people were saying also that, the Americans did that as a distraction from certain things like Biden's having issues, right? The scandal that's happening.
Yeah, correct.
And blah, 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 And to take them to just distract them from anything that the US government may plan to be doing.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And because Americans are so susceptible to these sort of fascinating, sensational stories that they'll be distracted, right?
Yeah, so in American media, from what I know, they feed each other. It's like an ecosystem.
Yeah.
So there is no third party kind of stand alone and say.
That sounds kind of plausible. Then finally, before we end the UFO episode. But I would love to have some more chats with you about this. You're always welcome to come back to the studio.
Okay.
Let's talk about TR3.
Okay, TR3. It's the latest character in the Star Wars trilogy. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, TR3 is a triangular object.
Here we go again. Triangle.
Okay, it's a triangle object in the first Belgian wave.
There we see it on screen.
1990s, right? So a lot of people have said that this is a special project that
Right.
is done by the US government in Area 51
So wait. So what you're saying is that triangular
craft.
craft
Space.
that people have been seeing
Yeah,
like forever.
it's man-made.
Get the fuck out of here, dude. So wait. So the Phoenix lights made up a triangular object, the second fleet, right?
Secondly, yeah.
Could be their very own.
Yeah, it's a US. What do you call it? Special plane.
But it's either stupid or ballsy of the whoever it is in charge of that freaking program, if it's true,
Yeah, correct.
to
Just
fly
over.
a major freaking city like Phoenix, right?
Yes, correct. That's right.
Right.
Yeah, so they named this TR3 because many enthusiasts there, they try to follow and see what developments they're doing for the latest, I would say, fighter planes.
Like the
what-
B-52s
B-52s,
previously and all
yeah,
that.
all the shape, you know.
Not
very-
B-52, sorry. What's it called now? The freaking...
The stealth fighter-
the
stealth
stealth
fighters.
bomber and fighter.
So after the stealth bomber fighter, the shape, as you can see,
Yeah, it's
is very
triangular
unique.
shape.
It's triangular shape.
Yeah.
So then this is the next progression.
Boomerang,
Yeah,
actually.
boomerang. Yeah. So this is the one, and the TR.
But come on. Those, like, for example, the stealth bomber and fighter, right? Those aircraft look different,
Yeah.
but they were boomerang shaped, but they had jet propulsion engines.
Yes, correct.
But what eyewitnesses say about this triangular shaped craft is that it's got no sound.
Yes,
It's
it's silent.
completely silent,
Yes.
right? So I mean, what kind of propulsion does it work? If it's American,
Yeah.
if it's truly the TR3 and built by Americans, right? How'd that happen?
Yeah. They say it's reverse engineering. They caught the craft in Roswell and many other places,
Fucking hell.
right? And then what they do is that they studied through the years, through the decades of how this energy
So
system
they
works.
found anti-gravity.
So they found anti-gravity and they put it into this plane using black budgets. But how they discovered it, they don't work together as a group. They split the technology up to the various aerospace industries.
Right.
Some of them is like owned by Robert Bigelow, which we forgot to mention, but we don't have time. It's about that ranch. The Skinwalker ranch.
No. We are going to talk about that ranch. Sorry, man. It's going to drag on just a little bit more. Bear with us. But you got to listen about Skinwalker Ranch.
Yes. So the
Yeah.
technology has been split up.
Bigelow.
To Bigelow,
Who is he?
Bigelow is a billionaire
Yeah.
who basically likes to discover new source of technology so
Right.
that he can build his aerospace industry.
Yeah.
He's something like Elon Musk,
Yeah,
that
but how
kind of-
come that he's so little known in the world?
He's little is known because again I mentioned this defense contracts they give
Right.
up to him. So they
Right.
split the craft up.
Uh-huh.
This part of the propulsion goes to you.
Mhm.
That part of the lights go to another person. But you do not know they come from a craft. They just say, "I'll give you this award." The U.S. government,
Mhm.
I'll give you the award. You do for me and study and see what you can do from
Right.
this material.
Right.
So they break it down. That's how they build optic fibers and touch screens.
Fiber
and,
optics and
fiber
stuff,
optics.
yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Mm.
So that's the story. So coming to Bigelow, because I suddenly remember about the Skinwalker Ranch.
Right.
So it's basically a ranch. Now, if you have a History Channel, I would advise you to go and see.
Yeah.
You will get to understand what is the Skinwalker Ranch.
Right.
It's a ranch in America, in Utah,
Yeah.
where there's a lot of strange things happening.
Uh-huh.
A lot of I don't know how to describe to you.
Jeez, look at that shit, man.
Yeah.
It looks freaky, man.
Yeah, it's not a haunted house, by the way. You see that it's not a haunted house.
It's not.
It's a very big area, and what happens is that they find strange occurrences by scientists. That means they set up a lot of equipment across the whole range to capture temperature, radiation, to capture visual sightings. They see a lot of UFOs there.
Right.
They see a lot of strange ops in the night.
Uh-huh.
A lot of things break down suddenly.
Uh-huh.
They found an object underneath a mesa, something like a rock formation, mountain formation, a hill formation made of rocks. They find something underneath that. So it's an ongoing documentary, sort of documentary drama on History Channel.
So what happened if it, okay, so Skinwalker Ranch, let me get this right, was started by Bigelow.
No, Skinwalker Ranch, what happened was it was just a normal ranch.
Right.
Sold to a couple.
Yeah.
The couple then had strange things happening
Yeah,
on the
okay,
ranch. Right?
okay.
So they saw certain things. So Bigelow came and says, "I would like to buy over your ranch
because of all these strange occurrences.
because they were selling it. They
Right.
couldn't do that, and cattle mutilation and all that.
Right,
So he bought over the ranch.
right,
So he found that he could do something on the ranch by studying this strange phenomena because
Right.
he believed that it happened there.
right,
So he brought in a team of scientists,
right,
professional scientists, and
Right.
this is where they set up all these observation points and data observation points to find.
right.
But after a period of time, he sold it to another person, which is one of the biggest real estate person in Utah.
Right.
So he bought it over, and what happened was that all the studies that they had no solutions. They could only record the incidences that happened there, but there was no explanation how it happened.
Right.
Like vortex, drop in temperature during
Oh.
summer,
Right.
right? Sudden drop in temperature of a certain place. It became like minus, very cold.
Okay.
Things like that. So now this new team that went in, they found certain other things by using the latest surveillance technology,
Right.
ground penetrating radar,
Yeah.
etc. Even balloons that can capture certain things.
Right.
So they found even more anomalies
Right.
in that area.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because whenever the anomaly happens, they see something in the sky.
Right.
Okay, that's where the UFO link comes in. It's a flying object. It will
Right.
just dart off, but
Right.
with for everybody to see, then it darts off.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is
So it's like a hotspot.
it's a hotspot. Yeah, correct. It's a hotspot for the paranormal.
Wow. 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 Man, goodness me, man.
In a nutshell.
Wow.
So it's good to see that if you have subscribed to the History Channel, you can see this ongoing. There's a fourth.
There's also lots of stories, videos on YouTube
Yeah, a lot.
about Skinwalker Ranch, man. Well, that's about all we can do for this whole episode, man. Thanks so
Yes.
much. My goodness, 2-parters
Yeah,
with Ignatius Bong. This guy is a wealth of information where this is concerned. And honest to goodness, if we could certify this guy somehow,
I think
as our own Singapore ufologist.
he should be certified too because he knows a lot.
No,
as well.
not as much as you, man.
No, man, you know a lot, man.
Not as much as you, man. I'm being schooled today. Thank you so much again, Bong,
most
for
welcome.
being with us.
Anytime.
You've been watching the Chris Hansen conversation with Ignatius Bong, and we've been talking about ETs. We've been talking about anything extraterrestrial for the past 2 weeks, and hope you enjoyed this particular episode. I have had loads of fun, do remember to please subscribe to CCBTV on YouTube. It is CCBTV Podcasts on YouTube. Subscribe to us, and you can also follow us on CCBTV on Facebook. CCB_, CCB.TV_ on Instagram, and we are also on audio podcasts. You can find the show on Spotify, the Chris Hansen Conversation, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Samsung Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, on Amazon Music, and the list can go on. You can see it all down there on the scroll bar. Yeah, so make sure that you follow us, like us, and tell us what you think, and comment, please. You can even call me an absolute dipshit because, I've been agreeing with lots of stuff that's kind of amazing, and most people will say, Chris, you're so gullible. Maybe I am, but I find this so fucking fascinating. Until next time, this is Chris Hansen. I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe, and make sure if you see any bright lights, duck. Bye-bye.